Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long Boys 1975. YouTubers on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long Boys 1975.
Hey YouTube, Lawboys Post 1975 and something a little bit different. These are my original Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi annuals I had as a child. But every single one of these I got second hand. These were not like a Christmas present, which is traditionally in the United Kingdom how you would get an annual. There would be an annual for, well, back then the Beano and the Dandy were called Beano Book. Dandy book. It always irks me as a collector of those. Maybe I'll show that collection one day. That they changed it in line with everyone else in the early 2000s and called them annuals. But you name it, every comic, kids comic, you know, cartoon, TV show, big movie would get an annual at Christmas. It was a traditional thing that you would give kids for Christmas. They would always be released in the run up to Christmas, and they were a big, well, I wouldn't say stocking filler, because you ain't fitting this in your tights, are you? But they were a big, big thing. And I got plenty of them when I was a kid, when I was new. But obviously, when Star Wars came out, I was 2, so I was too young to see it in the cinema. I would have probably seen it on TV first. I can't remember when it was released on TV, but I think, was it something like 1980? Well, I don't know. I put it on Facebook years ago, but the point is, I never would have got this for Christmas. Now, what's interesting about these is it's basically, because these are the movies, obviously, but they are reprints of a US comic. They're adapted each of the movies, so I'm assuming that would have been monthly. But in the United Kingdom, and I do remember this from when I was a kid, at least more so Return of the Jedi, that's when we used to go on holiday in Blue Anchor Bay. And you used to go out of your car. Well, I used to go out the caravan every morning around about 7 o'clock when my parents would get up, because my dad would give me some money. And I used to walk up to this hut in the middle of the campsite. It had no power, it had nothing like that. It was not the main shop or anything. It was just for some reason where they had sold all the newspapers in the morning. And so yeah, you would go up there to collect your newspaper instead of to the camp shop. I can only think because it was more central in the site and all the caravans were divided into different fields. I am getting off topic here, I know. That it was more centralised and easier for different people from the different fields and campsites to get to, and it made more sense. But they would also have comics, and I distinctly remember seeing Return of the Jedi, the comic, on the shelves. And for whatever it was, I'm not sure. I think it's probably because my parents ordered me the Beano every week, and my brother Ian and Jason another couple of comics of, you know, what they would like. So it was like, no, we're not buying you one issue of Return of the Jedi, even though you love Star Wars. Plus, you're also going to fight over it, which is what happens when we have 3 boys and we buy one comic for them to share. Random tangent, I do remember with me and my brothers that a kid was who used to make friends on campsites, caravan sites and stuff like that, that you would often share them, obviously the school holidays, so you would see them yearly, and we saw him after we became friends with them, like the next year when Return of the Jedi was released. I remember having a conversation, we were all by the camp shop on our bikes talking about Return of the Jedi, even though we hadn't seen it, and doing what most kids did back then. He lied his ass off and made up a whole bunch of shit that wasn't in it. But the point is, yeah, so there was a weekly comic in the UK that reprinted the, you know, monthly US stuff. And also in between movies, and also to pad it out, there would be different, you know, original stories. Obviously you could buy, you know, the original Marvel Star Wars stories and a compendium and stuff like that, and they were fantastic, because I do have some issues of Star Wars Weekly, UK Marvel Star Wars Weekly and UK Empire Strikes Back Weekly. I just don't know where they are, and sadly I don't have any for Return of the Jedi. Now let's get on to the annuals. I bought this in a jumble sale, so like I said, I told you how young I was when Star Wars came out, so I wasn't going to see it in the cinema and I wouldn't get the reference to it, you know, until many years later. But I bought this when I was about 7 or 8 in a jumble sale in Backwell, and it was just on a par with other books, and I was like, holy shit, I love Star Wars. And you got to remember, well, we probably had it recorded off TV on our Betamax, because Betamax, it's not Betamax, Betamax is better than VHS, and I will fight you. You didn't have a TV in your room when you were a kid, and when you loved a movie as much as Star Wars, just having some way to relive it, even if it was in, you know, annual form, written form, you know, artistic form, stuff like that. Comic book is the word I'm looking for. That was good enough. So I snapped this up, and it probably would have been like in 1983 or something, maybe 1982, and it would have been like 5p or something like that. But this is Star Wars Annual 1, because... Right, so Star Wars came out in the United States in 1977 in May. So I don't know this about Marvel US comics, but I'm assuming therefore it got, either very close to the run-up to it, or when it was in cinemas, it's, you know, run. I'm assuming it was probably going to be 4 issues. Again, I don't know much about US Star Wars Marvel Comics movie adaptation. By all means, let me know, or one of you that's going to watch this. But, yeah, so it would have been like the run-up up to it, or probably when it came out. Star Wars didn't get released in the United Kingdom till December of that year, which is insane. So this Star Wars Annual Number 1, because I'm assuming they didn't know, I mean the title crawl did not have episode 1 or episode 4, you know, in it. And also, isn't there a free movie streaming service at the moment on Roku where it's actually playing? I don't know how they managed to do this. I would have thought Disney would have fucking been all against this. It's playing Star Wars, the original unaltered good versions of the movie, with no, you know, number above the title crawl, and no dicked around effects and stuff like that. Anyway, Stanley Presents Star Wars Annual Number 1. That's pretty much the only reference to Marvel you get in here, because this is released by Brown Watson. Yeah, this thing's seen better days, but obviously this is what, 45 years old? No, wait, I can't do my maths. I don't know. We're pushing 50 on Star Wars. I'm retarded. My God, this book's almost 50. We're pushing 50 on Star Wars. That's absolutely insane. Oh, Star Wars, I miss you. You were good once. You were fantastic. Now you're just shite. Thanks, Disney. Right, so this is £1.50. £1.50 adjusted for today's money is £10, which is pretty much in line with what an annual costs these days. Now, this would have been an event, and this is why I like this book more so than the other two books, because this is just not the movie adaptation, but, you know, gives you a big synopsis of Star Wars, another time, another space. Then you get pictures from the movies. You would have been drooling over this, you know. There was no home video releases. Well, you wouldn't have been on it anyway, but you know what I mean. There was no home video. It was not on TV. You might have seen a few commercials. You saw this in a cinema. Maybe some magazines like Star Log or whatever it was. But as a kid, yeah, I would have eaten this. Well, I did eat it up as a kid. I just was never around for its initial launch. So we're still going on. I can't tell you what this smells like. It's not disgusting. It smells like a library. Still going on the synopsis. And we get profiles of the actors. This is just fantastic. Oh, Mark Hamill. Yes, before you went Orange Man, bad, batshit, TDS, insane. But here you go, Stan Lee. The guy who drew this is Howard Chaykin. Now, I loved this as a kid because look how chunky the artwork is. It's utterly fantastic. It's not so much an accurate depiction of, you know, the characters in the movie. It's just getting across its intent, but I think this artwork is absolutely fantastic. They just picked an artist. In the other two, spoilers, books, they go for more, you know, accurate to the movie. But I mean, look at C-3PO. So I'm assuming that when they drew this, they possibly did it off an earlier script. I haven't read this in years, and I'm not going to read it to you now. Get a fucking babysitter. I'm not here to do that shit for you. So are there differences? So that's why, well, maybe the guy just couldn't draw C-3PO, but I mean, it seems pretty accurate. And I do remember in the Return of the Jedi issue, actually we did get one Return of the Jedi issue, and the backup strip in it was one chapter of Star Wars. So in 1983, the backup strip to Return of the Jedi, the movie adaptation, was the Star Wars movie adaptation, and it was one of the chapters, and it was called 6 Against the Galaxy. So obviously that would be in at some point, but as you can see, the movie likeness is, well, you're not going to care as a kid, are you? But I just loved it, apart from, look how evil he looks there. like properly evil. But yeah, obviously a little stainage going on. You probably have stains if you've been in the attic for 47 years. 47 years, there we go. Then for some reason, it goes colour. Now, I never had Star Wars, you know, weekly when it was running the movie adaptation, but I do remember it being all colour. So whether or not when this was first released in the United Kingdom, which makes sense, it's 1977, not all of it was in colour, although I'm sure the US one would have been in colour. Yeah, don't know. So there's this chunk in the middle. Maybe it was to save money for the annual. There's this chunk in the middle where it just goes colour. But now it really pops. Look at it. I love these really, really limited, restricted colours. That's a bit different to that. That's the actual comic book accurate one. Now all of a sudden, they've changed artists, I'm assuming, unless someone said, oi, shaking, mate, you might want to make it look a bit more like movie accurate. But this to me looks utterly fantastic. And like I said, I loved it as a kid, but I never had it. I always remember that though as a kid. Like, why is he blue? I used to make, I'm stern. Yeah. I loved it as a kid. Look at the Millennium Falcon and how fast these bad boys can fly. But yeah, I've got such nostalgia. Look, what, no sound effect? Splurge? Such nostalgia for this. Really, really have. Like I said, I didn't have the other two books when I had this, but read it over and over and over again because I did actually collect them in sequence. But look at that. See. Do kids even maybe really, really young kids, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, there are Star Wars annuals now, but they're not even comic books. It's just pictures and shit and like facts and like this is the movie adaptation, but obviously now it's really condescending, patronising shit for kids. Look, here's a picture with a girl with a lightsaber. She's a Mary Sue. But yeah. Love it, absolutely love it, because anyone who knows me and this channel knows that Star Wars was such a big part of my childhood. Like most people in this, that's epic, in this country. Most people around the world, or in the West I should say. But yeah, and I love this. I read it cover to cover so many times. And still did, even then we had a copy of, you know, the movie taped off TV, which we subsequently wore our VHS one out on. But like, look at this. And then I'm pretty sure it goes back to black and white. Yeah, I mean, what even is the deal with that? It's got to be a cost-cutting thing, but look at it. I want to lick my fingers to turn the pages, but I don't want to damage the pages, and I'm pretty sure I'll catch something off this because it's been living in the attic for years. And then once it finishes, poor Chewbacca still gets dicked on the medals, we get some more profiles. This is just a consummate package, like, just fantastic profile, Harrison Ford. This movie made him a star. You would have thought that he would be at first. Mark Hamill beat you, but look how that turned out, Mark. Yeah, stick your TDS up your ass, you bellend. Star Wars, an evolution of an epic. This just would have been, you would have loved this as a kid. I mean, you realistically at this point, so we're talking 1978, so I'm assuming, see, that's the conundrum. Does this mean this came out in Christmas, 78? I'm assuming yes, because obviously that's when these books are released, and that's probably why it says annual one, because to be fair, even then they didn't know that there were going to be sequels. But then we move on to The Empire Strikes Back. Now, I'm pretty sure, while this is coloured, that the one issue I have of this somewhere, it's black and white. But anyway, so this is Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back annual. So, you know, they've ditched this. More movie accurate cover, authorised edition. So now at this point the movies are coming out in May in North America and May in the United Kingdom. And I bought this from a charity shop that used to be in Elsie. That isn't there now. It used to be where the I think it's where the food bank is. Yeah, pay attention government, we got food banks in this country. Seriously? Sorry. Yeah, where the food bank is now, there was a charity shop and I bought loads of stuff there. I bought a massive, massive amount of Action Force, UK Action Force, you know, G.I. Joe. There was only 50 tower issues of the Action Force Weekly in this country, and I bought about 38 of them, and I absolutely fucking adored it. This one one charity shop was so good for comics. I guess it was the same family or families clearing out their their sons grow up, move away, and they were taking their stash. I bought Beano's, Dandies, obviously ones I didn't have because I got them weekly then. These books, the next two books, got them both from that store. G.I. Joe, some Transformer issues and stuff like that, a bunch of 2000 ADs. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. But this is a completely different beast from this one. So obviously there would have been a Star Wars Annual 2, which would have been 1979. So this is 1980. So this is Christmas 1980, and the movie came out, sorry if I'm patronising you, came out in summer 1980. And it's a more cut down affair. I mean, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. We get the fact that it's Marvel Comics here, but then it's Cadhouse. I can't read it. It's too dark. Cadence, sorry. Cadence Industry Corp. That's the United Kingdom publisher of this book. So they licensed it from Marvel to publish as an annual, and obviously your Lucasfilm licensing there. £1.95, which makes this £11 adjusted for inflation. But what's interesting about this is, have they taken it off? Because it's not on the next page either, although I'll double check, but you get no information for, you know, like writer, penciler, inker, letterer, none of it. But I mean, obviously when this was released in North America they would have got that, but I'd still be kind of a bit bummed that if I did this, that even though it's a kid's book, more so than the comic books were in North America, they're aimed at kids, but they're moving out. So this is an annual, like I said, an annual at Christmas in the United Kingdom. It's aimed mainly at little kids. Comic books in America used to get annuals, but they were a summer thing from what I remember, or the ones I got were. But yeah, so you get no indication of who drew it whatsoever, but all colour all the way through. Still the very limited colour, you know, because obviously it's newsprint. But look at that. I mean, what they did with these limited colours was amazing, but now it's accurate, more accurate to the movie. I just think it looks fantastic. So I would have got this, I'm guessing I got this in about, no, I got this way after the movie, obviously. I'm thinking I got this in about 1984, somewhere around there. So I would have been 9, but again, we had a Betamax video recorder in the living room at the time. My parents obviously would have a TV in their room. We didn't have TVs. I didn't get a TV until, I can't remember, but I had one when I got my Master System, which I got right before my Mega Drive, so maybe when I was 12 or something like that. No, because that's a colour TV, and I had a black and white TV that my parents gave me. But the point is, they wouldn't have a video then, so you couldn't watch this. And again, going back to what I said on the first annual, I would read this because I was hugely into Star Wars. I know I said everyone was, but I was hugely, awkward, into Star Wars. And yeah, I would read these books. I would read these books cover to cover. And also, it probably aided us, the fact that we never got the weekly Star Wars, Empire and Return of the Jedi comics. Who remembers Return of the Jedi biscuits in this country, where you had like images of the characters on the biscuit? Like, I don't know, it was like edible print or something. We were never allowed them. My parents were like pretty strict on stuff like, it's probably a shit biscuit, I'm not buying you it because it's got Return of the Jedi or Star Wars on it, which makes it more expensive and probably inferior quality to a digestive. And as an adult, I salute them. But yeah, look at this. Look at this. The artwork's utterly, utterly fantastic. This is really, really close to a movie. Awkward. But yeah, I mean, like I said, did they do a movie that I don't want to say it because I don't want to admit the Disney trilogy, if you can call it that, because who fucking releases a trilogy and doesn't get fucking the people to talk to each other and plan a fucking story out? Disney! But did they release comic adaptations for any of that? Or did they just do prequel books like they always do that for, you know, for the movies and stuff? But yeah, this is utterly, utterly superb. And seeing it for ages, as a kid, I think it was this book that made Empire my favourite movie. Again, because we couldn't watch it all the time, because we only had one TV downstairs and one TV upstairs. But just reading this book, cover to cover. As you can see, there were no actor profiles, no breakdown of the movie. Probably because even though it wasn't a successful as Star Wars, not far off. This was still massive, but it wasn't the cultural, wake up call, impact, phenomenon that the original Star Wars was. So they didn't. I guess they didn't feel the need to introduce the characters again, or how they are in this movie. Or Yoda's a bit funky in this. So was this done off? Did they have no pre-production stills or anything like that, or was this done off an early script? Don't know. Bit of funk going on there. Oh, pages. They're loose. But yeah, again, also though, this is a different publisher than the. See, they may have balls Yoda up, but maybe they just had a. To be fair, they just had a description. You know, that's pretty good because, like I said, at least in North America, this would have come out in the run up to or alongside the movie. But yeah, like this is a different publisher from the first book, unless they changed their name. It really is classic. I wouldn't mind that on a t-shirt though, to see how many people get it. Also, we all remember that from the movie, where he misses the thing that Yoda lobs it in. But yeah, look at it. I still think, I know, well, comics are so fucking expensive now, and I think they've gone over the top with their colouring. I yearn for, if someone just released a comic and said, this is our new retro range, and did it like this, I'd be all over it. As long as they hired someone to write it who wasn't a woke dickhead and interjecting their ideology. And they wonder why no one reads comics anymore into it. But yeah, amazeballs. Look at it. Look at it. Like I said, again, the nostalgia. This smells like a library as well. The nostalgia on this one is epic. And I used to try and draw Boba Fett out of it because you know everyone seems to think, oh, people exaggerated the impact of Boba Fett just from his tiny little amount of time in Star Wars. No, that happened. Again, also like this, the carbonite. Just, I remember as a kid wishing there were more pictures of him in carbonite, but yeah. I had a fantastic childhood. Sorry, I just had to say it. I had a fantastic childhood. My God, this book's seen better days. Even as a kid as well, I didn't like this, where they glued flat the last page on the back card, hard card. It is cardboard, but it's hard card cover. Hard card. Say that 10 times. Hard card cover. But yeah, so Empire Strikes Back again. This one was from a charity shop. This one was from a jumble sale. And then, even back then as a kid, especially since it was Star Wars, I was a completionist. I came across this in said same charity shop. This would probably be around about 1985. 1986. So obviously the mainstream popularity of Star Wars at this point was waning. The toys were, you know, on their way out massively and stuff like that. I mean, we had droids, we had Ewoks. I quite like those cartoons, by the way. Yeah, we had those, but by the time this is out, probably other people wouldn't have still been obsessed with it as me, because I saw this and I was all over it. I absolutely had to have it. So I picked it up. Can't remember, same charity shop. Can't remember how much I paid for it, but it wouldn't have been fuck all. Charity shops aren't like they are now, where they look up shit on eBay and you have to point out to them that why are you selling this for eBay prices. It's particularly like PlayStation games. The disc it'll play, but it's clearly warm. There's a crack in the case. It's a platinum edition. It's like you've just fucking eBayed or Googled what the regular, you know, edition is. But anyway, once again, absolutely probably the best cover. Well, let's say the best cover art. I mean, look at that pink lightsaber, pink cape. I mean, I can't stay mad at it, but yeah. And that, I mean, I like it. You know, it invokes the movie, but that, obviously, I'm assuming that's not the artist who did this. I don't know. There's his name for this, at least, or his initials. But yeah, that's a fucking epic. I mean, look at that. That would Christmas this annual came out, you would have been sucked in. This was 50p more than the first, so I'm going to assume, because here's the thing. You're supposed to do this when you give it as a Christmas present. You cut off diagonally there because that's where the price is. So you're not actually missing anything. Well, you are actually missing it because the original frame there, panel would have gone to the edge, and they've stacked in. I want to say this would probably be like £2. 50 would have gone up then. So what's that? £2 for 12 quid. By today's standards. Anyway, chapter 1. In the hands of Jabba the Hutt. Colour all the way through. First page is glued to the actual outside of the book. Don't like that. Star Wars Return of the Jedi. 1983. So this came out, because this movie also came out, you know, in January May, sorry, so it was a I'll shut up now. A summer release, not a Christmas release like the original movie was, but probably because no one knew. Fox didn't know it was going to be a hit. So, and also we got everything back then. Fucking sometimes we got it a year behind North America, but. Yeah, so the artist, we don't know who the artist, the writer, and the inker or anything. Like, I find that just weird, but I'm assuming it's the same guy as the first. It certainly looks like it, but don't quote me on that. Anyone who actually read the original weeklies or North American monthlies. But this is fantastic. Even the colour seems to have been amped up a little bit. I mean, look at this. So again, I would have had this, you know, well late to the party. His depiction of Carbonite is much better. But as a kid, still being massively into Star Wars and having all three movies at least taped from TV on Betamax at this point, I didn't get my actual hands on a copy of all three movies on VHS when I had my own VHS player in my room until I think it was 1990 or something. I am aware they came out before then, but we just watched it on Betamax. But yeah, so I had to complete this set. But again, I just want to go through these because the sense of nostalgia I get for this, I can't be alone. Other people must have memories of these books, at least, or one of you who's watching this from the United Kingdom, and anyone who, or none of you watching this from North America. Okay, Luke's a little funky there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same artist. It looks fantastic. But yeah, read the the monthly. Or was it bi-monthly? I don't know. Well, not bi-monthly, whatever the fortnightly equivalent is in North America, where they used to do in summer sometimes. They used to do it at least when I read Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man. But yeah, I just fucking love this. He's tiny. Always look at him. But yeah. Again, it's accurate. It's funny how there's no age warning on it now. We're all such a bunch of pussies now. Well, we're not, but modern society, politicians and stuff like that, and all these fucking liberal idiots who have to get involved in everything and micromanage every aspect of your life because you're too stupid to do it yourself, like to think that people are mentally equipped enough, even kids, to deal with stuff like, that. But that's because they're idiots. Anyway, sorry. Very, very accurate, broken into chapters again. I forgot to look up in the first book, Star Wars Annual 1, where the Six Against the Galaxy bit was to back up my story from the comics. But yeah, look at it. This is fantastic. So if you love the movie, in 1983, you had those little, cine cameras and stuff where you would get 30 seconds or maybe a minute of the wine ones you would have put up to your face. I remember someone having them at our caravan campsite, at least for Star Wars. They were a thing, weren't they? But yeah, you weren't, okay, that's why the liberals don't like shit like this and have to put age stamps on everything. Side boob. But, yeah, this was how you relived the movie. And again, this was how I relived it. Look at that! I'm going to get that blown up and put on a friggin' t-shirt. Even the gun's accurate. Shame about his hands. But, yeah. They don't make them like this anymore. Absolutely do not make them like this. Okay, that's wrong, but we can't stay mad at it. I yearn for this time, I really do. It was such a better, simpler time. And I honestly think that, and I don't want to sound like, shake harder, boy, I'm such a bitter, miserable old man. This is well cool. That everything is shit now. But annuals are garbage compared to this. And I'm looking at you, Beano and Dandy. You're nowhere near the majestic books you used to be when I was a kid. Maybe I'll dig some of those out. I've got a bunch of them going right back to the 40s. And none of them are Beano annuals. I've stopped collecting long since then because why would I want a Beano annual? Mission to Endor. So yeah, just a silly little video, but I had to share. That was a fake beard, wasn't it? Is it something like the figure came out and he never had a beard and the figure had a beard? I'm not sure about this, so by all means correct me. And because the figure came out and had a beard, Kenner made them put a beard on the actor. And that's why, because they didn't want to remake the figure. I'm sure if I was Lucas, I'd just turn around and say, fuck off. No, but then obviously Lucas was making so much money from the figures then, don't bite the hand that feeds you. But that's why the beard in the movie always looks so stupid. Even as a kid, not capable of growing such said beard. I thought there was something wrong with that. But yeah, again, this one's full colour all the way through. I would bloody Coco in 1983. Oh, a little bit of damage, but it's doing better than Empire. It's funny how in the original book, the one that's 47 years old, is doing the best. But anyhow, I'm just trying to do the maths in my head then, and I can't because I'm talking and saying shit at the same time. Luke's lightsaber is the wrong colour. Look at that! The final show. Do you know what? This is epic in vision is the movie. Like it's almost a perfect one-to-one adaptation. Someone would interfere with that now, and like I said, and say, "You sure we can put that in this book? The young kids might be reading this because it's an annual," and they probably make concessions and changes, but not back then. The only differences were because they didn't know any different, or that was the material they were given from the movie. That shot, they were given to. Oh, look at it. Yeah, they were given to work their own version, their comic book adaptation of. This is amazing. This is the best artwork, to be fair. Absolutely. Get some of that in your life. Absolutely fantastic. Like I said, my God, I miss these times. And I certainly miss annuals. And it's glued to the back. So, yeah. Could have let us seen him. Could have let us seen him. Kids book, though, I guess. He would have had eyebrows then as well. So, yeah. Just a little bit of, well, mainly for me, nostalgia on this is just insane for me, so I had to do a quick little video on it. Plus I like doing these, like I did with my stickers, videos where I just stick stuff in front of me and go over it with my hands, because why not? Anyway, as always, I'd love to know what you think, especially if you remember these annuals, or you collected the weekly comics or the North American comics. But like I said, very few people watch these videos, but I'm fine with that because this was mainly for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.